Um, so yeah, so DePin is only a phrase that has only just recently been coined because they never really had a. They were building decentralized physical infrastructural stuff, but now that it's got a term, you're going to watch this term get more and more banded around, and I reckon it's going to help to galvanize the building around it. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy when people understand how this nebulous kind of blockchain can actually bring the world into a new paradigm, and how it might look and why it's happening and all of that. So when we understand what's happening and we can put words to it, then we can create it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video that I've got, which now has disappeared as it does from my thing. Hang on. So this is just 10 minutes long. This will just sort of give you a bit of an opening idea about it.
Make no mistake, people will get rich in the next crypto bull run because of the decisions they make right now. There is this narrative, this story in crypto that I am more excited about than pretty much anything else, except I never had a name for it until now. It's called DePin, and I think it's going to completely dominate the landscape in 2024 and 2025. But what even is DePin, and what are my top DePin crypto projects? DePin stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks, and it's something I have been excited about for years now, and I didn't even realize it. In fact, I've actually been investing in this space already. I just didn't know it had that name. I was DePin lost, and now I'm DePin found. What are decentralized physical infrastructure networks? Well, things like wireless or 5G networks, geospatial networks, storage or compute networks, etc. These are services that require some physical infrastructure to operate. Like if you're going to provide a 5G network to mobile phones, you will need physical 5G antennas in all the areas you want to provide the network to. And the beauty of DePin is that you can build these networks faster than ever because of decentralization. Let's take Uber, for example. They wanted to disrupt the entire taxi industry.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Well, there are millions of taxi drivers worldwide across thousands of companies. Even if you raised insane amounts of money, you couldn't buy enough cars and invest in enough drivers to come close to disrupting the entire industry. So instead, you incentivize individuals who already have cars to become your taxi drivers. Your startup cost is much smaller and your impact is much bigger. Doing that, they managed to carve out a massive chunk of the taxi market share, and that's still with a centralized corporation in the mix. Well, this is where I think you can see the power of crypto and DePin. When you have tokens you can use to incentivize individuals like you or me to provide the infrastructure, you can build a network basically overnight. This is why I think that DePin is where Web3 will finally get to shine in the real world, by providing not only real world value, but also real world utility. Given that utility and the empowerment of end users, I think this narrative is going to be massive in the next bull run. Every crypto cycle has had different stories and narratives that make big waves. Like in 2017 and 18, the narratives were the ICO craze, privacy coins, masternode coins, and the emergence of Ethereum into the mainstream. In 2020 and 21, it was DeFi and NFTs and the rise of layer ones, among many other narratives. Well, in 2024 and 2025, I think it will be several things like the emergence of Bitcoin further into the mainstream with an ETF, an expanded DeFi maturation, and things like GameFi, SocialFi, and other Web3 initiatives. But I also think one of the biggest narratives will be DePin. So what are the top DePin projects that I am looking at? Let's start with compute projects. These are cryptos that want to become like a decentralized Amazon Web Services, where you can use the network to host your app or website or whatever. Or it's cryptos that want to provide CPU and GPU resources for things like video editing, rendering, or more importantly, and more top of mind right now, AI compute. Well, the first project is pretty obvious if you watch my channel, and it's Flux. It's one of my largest positions, and they have been building nonstop since 2018. Earlier on, they wisely pivoted their focus to build something akin to a decentralized Amazon Web Services, where users can run nodes or computers that provide resources to the network, and then you get incentivized to run them by receiving rewards. However, they have definitely taken a shift lately with the advent of mainstream AI, and now also are laser focusing on compute, especially for AI. And AI is not going anywhere, so any project that can crack the code of providing resources for AI companies that's far cheaper than what the big centralized companies can provide, well, they could win big. Like, imagine being able to run some software on your home desktop computer that allows it to be rented out by AI companies when you aren't using it, and then you get paid in the process. This is the promise of Flux and others like it. The demand for compute resources for AI is only going to get more intense in the future. So this could be a massive win for compute-focused crypto projects. But Flux isn't alone. I've also invested into Clore AI, which has similar compute goals, but is just a much newer project that's a lot scrappier, but shows some potential. And there are others too that look promising, like Akash and Render, that I haven't invested in yet, but I am currently looking at, and that have a lot of headwind in the compute space. Each of these have advantages and disadvantages over all the different competitors, but overall, I really do believe that even if the one I focus on doesn't win this competition, the market will be so huge that it will be a rising tide that will lift all boats, or all projects that survive in this space until the next bull run. Adjacent to compute is the storage category. These are cryptos that reward you for providing hard drive space to the network. And there are actually quite a few that I've already mentioned in this video that have blurry lines between compute and data storage. But another example of this is Octaspace. They are a distributed data and storage project. They also offer VPN services. But where a project like Flux is very infrastructure centric, Octaspace is more end user and services centric. However, for much more storage focused projects, I'm currently invested in SC Prime. You can run it on a DIY storage server, or get one of their pre-built storage servers like I did. The idea is very much like AWS, but more storage focused. People or companies can buy storage from them, and all those files are stored across their storage servers that are spread out around the world. Now, they haven't had a big focus on marketing yet, but I suspect that will change in the next year or two. One of the biggest projects in this space is called Filecoin. I haven't invested into Filecoin, but I am looking at it. They are taking a different approach to SC Prime, in that instead of building out their network to be more compatible and focused on existing storage protocols, they are instead kind of throwing money at the problem and developing their own and trying to onboard companies to their way of doing things. Decentralized wireless network providers are another category that is super interesting to me. And for what I'm looking at, these come in two different flavors: mobile phone data and Wi-Fi data. For mobile phone data projects, focusing on 5G is the way to go. And Helium is looking really strong in this category. Ever since their total failure with IoT networking, even after having mass onboarding of people running their hotspots, of which I have 5, that now basically do nothing, well, I was pretty bearish on Helium, and I didn't see much potential going forward. But they have since pivoted quite a bit. They are now focused on 5G data. You can run a 5G Helium hotspot with a 5G antenna and provide for their mobile phone data network and get rewarded for doing so. And maybe that sounds familiar with what they were doing previously, but this time they are consumer focused with a pretty killer idea: unlimited 5G mobile data for only $5 a month. And the best part is they have already launched this in Miami, Florida. Not only that, but they have partnered with T-Mobile to help provide for the network when their user run infrastructure isn't quite enough yet. So I've gone from excited about Helium to very unhappy with them to being pretty dang excited about them again. I'm currently running one of the Helium 5G hotspots and earning. The other wireless angle is just providing Wi-Fi. That's where the project Wi-Fi map comes in. There is a bit of overlap here with Helium in that you could also do voice and data over Wi-Fi if you're connected, but Wi-Fi Map isn't just focused on providing wireless internet everywhere. They also offer mapping and VPN services, all in a great looking app. And in terms of market cap size, potential here. Now, there are several more projects I want to go through in a lightning round here because I do plan to cover them more deeply in upcoming videos. First is Hive Mapper, which is a company that has a dash cam you can run in your car. When you drive around, it takes photos of all the streets. For doing this, you get paid in their tokens. They are building a decentralized Google Street View, essentially. Demo has a device you can also run in your car. It takes your car's data like gas mileage, health status, private GPS tracking, engine codes, etc. And then they monetize that data and pay you for using it, which is cool because there are lots of car companies that do this already without you even knowing it, and they don't pay you when they do it. GeoNet is a geospatial network. You run one of their devices they call a space weather station, and you help them gather geospatial data for use on their network. Basically, they use the space weather stations to help them make satellite positioning data far more accurate than it would be otherwise, among other uses. Crank is a project that is following a similar path of Helium with IoT before they got derailed. Crank hopes to make right a lot of what Helium got wrong. And you can actually use your Helium miners with Crank and earn more money than you would running on Helium. So that's a lot of projects for you to look at in this space, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. The DePin space is going to be huge. But there is one more play I wanted to mention here because while it's not a DePin play in and of itself, it is one that could benefit greatly from the rise of DePin, and that is Solana. There are quite a few DePin projects that are building on Solana right now. So it might become the blockchain of choice for DePin in the future. I have not been a big Solana fan in the past. However, they have been building like crazy during this bear market, and there are more and more crypto companies that are choosing Solana to build on themselves. So that feels pretty bullish to me, so I'm buying. Well, like I said earlier in the video, I see GameFi as another potentially huge narrative in the next crypto bull run. Well, watch this video to see one GameFi project I'm pretty excited about.
Okay, so that's basically that guy's viewpoint on this DePin. He talked very fast, and yeah, basically he brought up some tokens there though that I have been doing a bit of research on as well, because I drive quite a lot, so I'm quite interested in getting a Hive Mapper dash cam, because what this DePin space is really enabling us to do, it's basically meaning that we can basically control the infrastructure of the world. Basically, that's we can by, instead of Google Maps mapping all the roads and then channeling us through there and channeling us through their own server and their own browsing and all of that can be done on the blockchain in a decentralized way, and people can get incentivized for actually providing the computer storage space, for doing the dash camming and the filming, or having a hotspot or whatever in your home. I mean, basically, you can just basically link anything up to the blockchain and make it decentralized. So I think that, as I agree, I think this area is going to be a huge area going forward. And when you link it up with well, I've got actually a slide on it.
Anyway,
what was that? So yeah, what I was going to say is it's not just the decentralized physical infrastructure, it's the merging of artificial intelligence, blockchain, and the real world assets. And so within real world assets, you can have the actual static, if you like, assets themselves, like stocks, land, property, gold, all that sort of thing. You can token, we're already tokenizing fiat currency in the form of stable coins. That's just a type of tokenization. But now with this DePin, you can basically tokenize any real world infrastructure, whether it's offline or online. So basically between those three categories there. And when you throw in cryptocurrency as well, which is really like a tokenization of a brand new kind of currency, then you're basically covering everything. You're covering what we essentially do. It's what we own, and it's what we use. And so massive utility there, and so we're really looking at a massive change. But the AI and robotics, love it or hate it, it's coming regardless. And so we just got to get prepared. It's just coming like a freight train. And when AI gets inserted into robots, and when it gets infused into blockchain, it is going to make the biggest disruptions ever that we've ever seen. But then when you combine it with all the above, it really is a complete paradigm shift on every level. So, this is a time to get prepared. And what I was saying before about the fall of the American empire and what is it going to look like when the dust settles, we're going to see this technology come out like it's just going to go like a bull's roar into our face. And at least we've had a bit of a look at it before that freight train sort of like hits us between the eyes. So, I think that people are way underestimating this whole space. They think that we're just chasing get rich quick schemes, or they think we're just buying and trading and in crypto. They think that we're just wasting our time with this technology that's not going anywhere. Frankly, there's a lot of people think it's a nothing burger. And so I would beg to differ. And I'm really amazed at how few people see this. Like I said before, this is something so big is coming, yet so few see it. So I still find that quite incredible. And that guy was first time I've actually seen that channel, to be honest. But these are just to go over. So you mentioned some of these categories. I'll just sort of go over them again. Computer storage. So imagine renting out your computer when you're not using it so that you can get paid. That's like there's massive amounts of storage all around the world. And blockchain can very efficiently tap into unused storage in any computer anywhere in the world, and you can get paid while you sleep. We're talking about servers now. Imagine, Amazon has all the power. If they don't like what you are storing on their server, they'll just cut you off. So these decentralized server systems, I think that's going to be extremely important. When you think about censorship and you think about people being erased from the internet for what they say and their information, like even our own website is very at risk. The server we're holding our websites on are highly centralized, and they're at risk, period. They just are. And then AI is going to be so huge. We see AI now getting infused in. I'm seeing some incredible projects on fully decentralized AI, and where the AI is not getting trained on wokeism. It's not getting trained. It's not getting told about the current sort of woke narrative. There are developments on AI that are right from source, decentralized, and they're feeding it with information that is absolutely solid and is well researched, going back to the truth of how the world should be and how it was. And then the advent of robotics. Robots on their own are not that. They're going to, you're going to see them in the factories and that. But when the AI and Chat GPT and all that, and these super GPUs are inserted into the robots, that's when they are going to take the place of humans. And so there's going to be a huge revolution going on there. And then he talked about Wi-Fi. Obviously, 5G is very contentious, but I still maintain 5G can be completely safe. In fact, I've seen it. 5G could be beneficial energy for us. Just because it's 5G doesn't mean that it's on the frequency that's harmful. So we've got to think outside of those conditioned narratives. The telco services in general, like helium, he was talking about the helium project, and I do plan to have a little bit more of a dive into helium. I've got their website there, and mobile phone data as well. All can be decentralized. He talked about Uber and taxis. You'll see it with we'll see it with the Airbnb as well. They'll be going down that track as well with decentralized kind of homestays and that, instead of the current centralized Airbnb. Digital mapping of the streets, weather prediction, and there's just going to be so many things that DePin can cover. So it's really quite incredible to watch it unfold in front of our eyes. Now I'm in researching these, like the categories of these cryptos are very important. And he mentioned about how the certain in each bull run, there have been certain narratives that have been extremely popular and very, very, the price has gone very high on the narrative because people are diving into it, seeing something new, and people will follow the herd. And like the big one in late 2020 was DeFi, decentralized finance. We've seen big narratives around gaming. We've seen big narratives around the AI narrative is becoming really, really big as well now. Real world assets and the tokenization of real world assets. These are the big narratives, I believe, that are coming. And we're right on the cusp of it now. The market is poised for a big run because all the metrics, or everything's stacking up. The liquidity is coming back into the market like anything because the big boys are freeing it up. They're taking their money out of locked storage and they're getting it out there, getting ready. The Fed is intimating that they're going to be lowering interest rates, and really they've got no choice. They have to because of the debt. You've got the Bitcoin halving coming up in April. That is another huge one. Now you've got the Bitcoin ETF, which is out there now, and the ETF is getting sold like crazy with these Wall Street financial advisors. It's absolutely going nuts. Bitcoin, although there was a lot of selling from one particular fund, the Grayscale fund was only selling because they're deep in debt and they needed to sell to pay back their debts. So they sold about something like 20,000 Bitcoins, but all the big boys have been snapping them up. And once once there becomes a real shortage of supply again, you're going to watch Bitcoin's price go to the moon. But I'm not so interested in what Bitcoin does per se. It's when Bitcoin goes up, the liquidity that it brings to all the Wall Street money coming in on Bitcoin is going to find its way like crazy into the alternative tokens. It is going to flood into DeFi. It's going to go into AI. It's going to go into gaming. You just watch. It is going, and when they talk about an Ethereum ETF, then oh my God, then it's all on. So, and then there will be other ETFs. Unfortunately, it's just the way of the game. We just got to make sure we hold the real thing. We don't engage in the ETF. We hold the real tokens and then let Wall Street money do the rest for us. That's kind of how you got to play the game. It's quite cut and thrust, but this is how it is so that we can survive. So the DePin term, really, like you said, it's only just been made up. Now it's going like everywhere around the crypto universe. And really, like I was saying, these narratives rule and they will lead the crypto pricing and adoption. There's more people, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They get the narrative out there. You could say that's the kind of marketing. Goes through Twitter, goes through X, and goes through YouTube and all the social media. Then people go out and buy like crazy, just sends the prices up. And then that attracts a whole new class of people going, what's this all about? And then the adoption really, really is going to start. And so communication, the communication literally creates our world. Thoughts, intentions, words, oral and written, create actions, and those actions then build. They will build this new infrastructure, this new world of crypto. It's going to be quite incredible. It's going to be really quite amazing to be at the forefront of this. So now I'm going to move over to, I'm going to get rid of him and just give you a quick look at Helium. So it's basically people powering the networks. Instead of a telco powering it, instead of, these big internet firms or these, whatever you've got, telecom here and all the other big ones, it's actually going to be, it's going to dismantle, it's going to disrupt their existing system. And I agree with them. The Helium network represents a paradigm shift for decentralized wireless infrastructure. And this is only just one little aspect. This is just the wireless side. It's really quite incredible. And they've got nearly 1 million of their hotspots out there now. They've got 160 million of their token out in supply. You get paid for, in the early days, they were paying you to set up a hotspot. I actually looked at it myself and then they had all these problems. So I went off it and now it's all come back again now. And apparently there are Helium hotspots. You can check them out. They're all over Auckland as well. And it's growing like crazy. And it's all based on the Solana blockchain, which I've been hearing a lot about myself. And so I actually bought a bit of Solana today just to dip my toes in. But yeah, I agree. I think Solana is going to be huge. It's a rival to Ethereum. It's much faster and much cheaper than Ethereum. And it has the potential to significantly take a lot of business away from Ethereum. But the projects that are building on it are also really state-of-the-art. There's a new decentralized exchange that is launching on Solana tomorrow. It's called Jupiter. And they reckon it's going to at least be as big as Uniswap or PancakeSwap, or if not a lot bigger. So you might want to check that out. They're actually doing an airdrop for any Solana that you hold. If anyone's holding Solana, if you can buy them before 10 a.m., what was 10 a.m. today, Eastern Standard Time. So it will be about midday tomorrow. You've got till midday tomorrow in New Zealand time. Get a few Solana in the wallet called Phantom, it's PHANTOM, and then you will get an airdrop of these Jupiter tokens. But you can also buy the Jupiter if you want on that wallet. So yeah, but anyway, you can see this is going to be huge. It's going to be way, way cheaper to operate your Wi-Fi, and it's going to be, you're actually going to get even paid to help them build it. So I'm super bullish on I don't own any helium, but I'm super bullish on what they're trying to do. I think it's like incredible. And now just to look at CoinGecko and look at the categories of tokens in the DePin category. He mentioned Filecoin, that's decentralized storage. That's the top DePin project by market capitalization at the moment of 2.5 billion. Then there's Render, which is doing the AI aspect of it. I bought Render when it was about $1.50, and it's now nearly $5, $4.68. So I've done pretty well on that. And look how much it's just grown in the last day, 24.8%. So I'm pretty happy about that. Helium is coming in next. Then another favorite of mine is Theta Network. Theta is also decentralized. It's a DePin project, and it's taking over Google YouTube. It's about video streaming and all of that. So I've been holding Theta for a long time, and I think now it's going to have its day in the sun. Definitely it's coming. IOTA, Internet of Things, obviously that's definitely decentralized infrastructure. Akash Network, I think that's another storage project. Airweave, it's another decentralized storage. Seer Coin. So what you want to do is probably look at the smaller caps down here. Here's Hive Mapper. I'm really bullish on that one. I haven't bought any yet, but I'm pretty keen to get some. And I would love to get their dash cam as well, because I do a lot of driving. And then Demo is their competitor. So that's another one to look at. And they have actually really rocketed up just in the last week, 18%. So you can find these networks and you can scroll right down and you'll catch these really small ones and just do your research on them and see if you can, find one. Because when the bull run goes, these top narratives will be the ones that move the most. The ones that are on everyone's lips and everyone's excited about, they'll be the ones that get the most money. And I also, like I said, AI, I'm very much keen on AI and gaming as well. I'm not a gamer by any stretch, but the millennials are very, very active in this space. So I'm not averse to a few gaming projects. But yeah, see, you got all these categories here on CoinGecko. It's much better than CoinMarketCap for the categories. And so I recommend that you highlight some of these if you're going to do some buying, and then look at the top ones and then look at the ones that are competing with them and look at their price, look at their market capitalization, how big they are, and the volume, and then start making a choice based on their metrics, and read their website. Do all your due diligence on the team and their partnerships, and then you can make a more informed decision. But even really, a lot of these tokens in the next bull run are going to go up. I mean, it'll be like almost like, you know, throwing a dart on a dartboard. No matter where it lands, it's going to probably make some money. But the key is whether are you going to take profit, and when? And also, you know, will they last? Will there be a project that actually lasts? So my strategy is I hold my long-term holdings in the ISOs, the banking tokens. They are my top holdings, and a few other bits and pieces, infrastructure tokens, tokenizing projects. And then I look at some of these as a way to try and make a little bit of cash with this upcoming bull run, and make something a bit quicker, and get in and get out. It's all very speculative. Whereas I allow my long-term holdings, which are more going to have real world use case, I allow them to be, I just hold them for when they actually come to their day in the sun. When they start getting utilized, then they will go then. But in the meantime, you know, if you've got a bit of time and some funds, and you don't need a lot of funds in here, and just play with small amounts and just get used to the idea. If you you know, if you feel so inclined, it's you know, it's an opportunity too good to miss. So that's sort of how I do it. That's how I play it. There's also, you know, in this whole thing, obviously, I'm talking about the other thing I was going to do is I was just going to go and look at Hive Mapper and show you about that. Just bear with me. Its token is called Honey. It's just 18 cents at the moment. It's only got a market cap of 118 million, which is very not much. It is not much at all. Its circulating supply is it's got 635 million already out in supply, out in the marketplace, out of a total supply of 6.2 billion. So it's still got and maximum supply 10 billion. So it's still got a way to go. It's still got a way to go before it reaches its capacity. But I still think it could be a good thing to buy with this coming bull run, with the mindset of taking profit and then recycling that back in, or doing whatever you like. And you can see its chart here. If you have a look over the last year, so it's very new. It really only was launched in November last year, and it's had a high of 32 cents, and it's around 18 cents at the moment. So it's still a little bit over halfway of its all-time high. So I think it should, by all accounts, it should go quite a bit higher. Not financial advice, but, you know, in this coming bull run, this bull run is important because it's probably going to be the last truly speculative bull run without any constraints from the authorities before regulation. So that's quite important, because once regulation comes in, a lot of the speculative plays will be gone. A lot of tokens won't survive. The Wall Street will be fully getting in on it then, because they really got no choice. They're following us into the market. This was the first time ever in the world where basically the people led a market. And so we're kind of like at the front row seats, and they are following us. So, but when regulations come in, it's going to change the landscape dramatically. But then the bull run that comes after that will be huge, and it'll be utility focused. It'll be the actual tokens that have survived and are doing a real world use case and are actually also meeting the compliant regulations, and it'll eliminate all the dodgy scams, or all the weak hands will be chucked out. So yeah, so basically you might also might want to look at the other competitor, Demo, as an alternative. It's definitely, like got a lot of prospects as well. But yeah, you can see that they've already mapped a good part of the United States and Europe. There's a lot of pink in there. So they're already well and truly on their way. If you, like you said, if you incentivize people, if you get paid to do this work, then you're going to be basically you're a stakeholder in the network. Instead of the WEF being the stakeholders, we are the stakeholders. Japan, there's a lot of pink. Australia, they're doing Australia and the Eastern Seaboard. Just can't see New Zealand, but oh, there we are. They've even started, New Zealand is looking like it's, starting to happen there as well. So you can see how it's catching on around the world. You can see that this is like someone's lit the fire, and now it's just going to turn into a forest fire. That's for sure. So yeah, so basically that's all I've really got for today. I don't want to go on too long in my presentations anymore, because attention spans, it's very hot at the moment. And yeah, basically I just want to deliver something that's punchy and gives you the information without boring you, or so that you could keep. I don't know where I am now. I'm lost. Here we go. So yeah, so if anyone's got any queries, feel free to you want to put it in the chat or unmute. Otherwise, I'll move on.